Hey, thanks for coming back to the Minuteman Prep YouTube channel. My name is Ben, and this right here behind me is the EcoFlow Delta Pro. I've had mine for quite a while now, and I've been very impressed with it. I wanted to share with you the things that I like about it most and why it is a good option for emergency preparedness. First of all, what is the overall goal? For me, I honestly think that power is right up there equal with water in terms of preparedness. I'm sure I'm gonna make someone mad about that. But here's the reason why, is because without power, the vast majority of people cannot get water. Now, in my case, I have a hand pump on my well. So if there is some sort of power outage, and even if my well's not working, I can still get water out of the ground. And then I have a high-end water filter, which is the Berkey water filter, which I know I can put pretty much anything besides salt water in, and I'm gonna be able to get clean, drinkable water out of it. Food, it's obviously something that is a lot easier to store and easier to get. It's not always possible. I know someone's gonna go to the what if situation that is 7 what ifs into that. Like, well, what if there aren't any animals, and what if you can't grow, and what if this, and what if that? The what if game serves its purpose, but some people take it too far. I have plenty of food storage for myself, for my family, and I have a way to be able to get more food, and so it is less of a concern. And food storage is one of the easiest preps to do because food is so readily available here in the United States. Then right up there, almost as equally important, is security. If you have water, and if you have food, and if you have power, you're going to be a target. So you have to be able to defend yourself and your family, and all of those things really matter. But the point is, having emergency backup power is an absolute game changer. Whether you're just trying to run your well pump and you want to be able to run faucets in your house so that way life's much easier, or if you're trying to do that as well as run an air conditioner so that your room doesn't get above 100 degrees because you live in the South. And I'm not necessarily talking about running central air conditioning, but that is a potential depending on the size of your air conditioner. Many people say that air conditioning is not an essential, but if you live in the southern states of the United States, especially during the summer, it is an absolute necessity. People die when there are power outages when it's hot out. It's just a simple fact. So there are many, many reasons to have backup power. The hardest part about backup power is it's one of the most expensive parts if you want it to be extra reliable. Having a gas generator is great, but it's a very short-term power option because gasoline stores for maybe a year. Yeah, you can use some Pride-G or some Stay-Bil, put something in it, and it's gonna make it last a little bit longer, but it's still a perishable item that doesn't last for many years. So you have to be cycling it, plus the fact that gas generators are designed to be run once a month to keep things clean, and that's one of the reasons why I prefer propane over gasoline, and that's a whole other discussion. My point is that gas generators, whether it's natural gas, propane, gasoline, diesel, whatever that is a short-term power option. I like to prepare for an EMP threat. That's kind of my main focus. If I'm prepared for an EMP threat, then I can be prepared for almost anything. And that is why having a solar option is so important, because the sun may not shine every single day, but it shines most days. Even here in Idaho, there are many more sunny days than cloudy days. So therefore, I have a long-term power option, and then my gasoline becomes a backup to this system, which is exactly what I have right here. This is the EcoFlow Smart Generator, and it actually replaces one of the batteries to a Delta Pro, and it's designed to work on gasoline or propane for the purpose that once this reaches a certain level, say it reaches 20%, this will automatically turn on and start recharging the whole system up to whatever percentage I set, which could be 50% or 80%, 100%. It is a 100% automated system. And so I could get 2 of these smart dual fuel generators, replace 2 of these batteries with my 2 Delta Pros. So I'd have 2 Delta Pros, 2 batteries, and 2 smart generators. With that, I have a fully automated system. I can put propane tanks on these, gasoline, whatever it is. I like propane because the fuel doesn't go bad. And I can have a perpetually running system. I have a 500-gallon propane tank here that I keep in my house, and I have the option to use that tank to fill up smaller tanks. So the reality is I could run this for a very, very long time. But because solar is my main power source, the propane is supplemental, which means I only need to run it for a few hours in order to get this back to a full charge. And in an emergency scenario, this whole setup is at least 1 day's power supply. So I can exchange a few hours of runtime on a generator in exchange for tons of runtime, at least 24 hours off of this system. And then if the next day is sunny, I don't need the gas generator again. Now, I personally chose not to get the smart home panel because I went with an interlock switch. An interlock switch is like a manual transfer switch. So I can take my 240 volt hub right here, plug it into my two Delta Pros, and then from this L1430R, this receptacle or outlet here, I can run an extension cord to my interlock switch, which then can power my entire electrical panel. The reason I personally chose to do that is because my house, I don't use a ton of power, but I need 240 volts to run everything in the house, even for the 120 volt items, just with how electrical panels are made. But if I'd gone with a smart home panel, then I would have been limited to 10 circuits. Now, I'm not saying the smart home panel is bad, it just wasn't the choice for me, and I preferred the interlock switch, and that's what I generally recommend to people. The main advantage that the smart home panel provides is that it's an auto transfer switch. So I can have that mounted by an electrician. It's usually very easy for them to do. I can connect it up to my Delta Pro setup, and as soon as the grid goes down in less than 20 milliseconds, this whole system kicks on and keeps running those 10 circuits. I can put my well pump in my garage and my kitchen and all my bedrooms. I can put whatever circuits I want on there as long as I'm not exceeding the 7,200 watt output capacity of these two Delta Pros. You just have to decide which camp you want to be in and go with that option and be okay with it. Both options are great. With the Delta Pros, there's a very easy to use app from EcoFlow. I can simply click right here and get all of the information about my system. And because I run on Starlink here at my house, as long as I'm powering my Starlink, I have Wi-Fi. I'm not dependent on local internet in order to be able to control, monitor, and use my systems. So even if I am away from home, I can monitor and control them so that I'm able to run things here in my house while I'm gone. Now, the Delta Pro is one of the great options out there. But to be sure that it's the best option for you, you can reach out to me at info@poweredportablesolar.com, and I'll be happy to discuss with you all the different options that exist and which one's going to work best for you. You may just need two Delta Pros and two batteries, or maybe you need the smart generator. Maybe you only need one Delta Pro. That's what we can go over, as well as other systems, to see what would be the best setup for you. There's also the Delta 2 Max and the Delta 2 itself, which is a very portable system that can be used in a van life setup or as a mobile power station. The point is, what I do is I help people and I get people discounts on those systems to make sure that they're getting the full setup, including the solar panels, the cables, adapters, 100% of everything they need, as well as the savings and the extra customer service. You get all the same benefits that you would if you order directly from the manufacturer, but you get all those extra accessories and benefits by ordering through poweredportablesolar.com. So if you need help with any of this or want guidance, just shoot me an email and I'd be happy to help. But there can be some limitations to the Delta Pro. The biggest one being that when you have the EcoFlow 240 volt hub added, or rather connected to the Delta Pros, you're not able to charge these from a typical gas generator or wall charger. You would indeed need to have the smart generator connected because it actually uses one of the battery ports in the back. So it's going to be supplying DC power rather than AC power. So there is no AC charging into the Delta Pros when outputting 240. So you would only be able to do solar panels and the smart generator. The solar input is pretty good. The voltage parameter is 11 to 150 volts, and the amperage parameter is 15 amps. Now, I have found that the best setup is to use 4 400 watt solar panels. Previously, I was using up to 12 200 watt panels and over paneling, but I found with just lots of testing that now 4 400 watt panels, they have to be making 37 volts roughly at a VOC, or their open circuit voltage. Connecting 4 of those to this, I get really close to the 150 volt mark for the DC input, and that's the best way to get charge into the Delta Pros. Real life experience has shown me that around 1200 to 1300 watts is what I can get into this, and that's because solar panels generally do about 80% of what they're rated to. So a 400 watt solar panel will very often do about 320 watts actual input to a battery, simply because of how solar panels work. What that means is if I've got two Delta Pros and these batteries here, I'm capable of getting and using about 10 kilowatt hours a day. So that's your measurement that you would use if you want to know what it's going to be able to run in a day. So if you're going to run an air conditioner, those use about 3,000 watts on average while running. So if you were to run that for 3 hours, that's going to be 9,000 watt hours, and this can do about 10,000 watt hours in a day. So an air conditioner may be possible to run, but it may not be ideal to run simply for the fact that it uses so much energy. That's where you want to get a very energy efficient window air conditioner so you can just cool the area that you're in. But overall, I very much like the Delta Pro, and it is a good option. There are other options out there, and that's where you can email me at info@poweredportablesolar.com to find out what's going to be the best for you. But if you want all the best deals, and we do price match and all of that, if you do want all the help that you can get for finding the system works for you, just shoot me that email. There's a sale going on right now, so if you are able to reach out soon, then we can get you all those benefits. Being prepared, especially now, is super important. With everything that's going on with Russia and China, I personally am working much, much harder to make sure that we are even more prepared, because I honestly think that there is more coming down the line that we are not expecting. So please be prepared, whatever that means for you, whether it's food, water, security, communications, but do not overlook your power backup. If you just need to run a fridge and freezer, then you can easily get away with one Delta Pro and two 400-watt solar panels. So if that interests you, shoot me an email. If you want to be able to run your whole house, where you can connect to your main electrical panel or to the smart home panel, shoot me an email. We'll figure out what's going to be the best setup for you. It is so vitally important to have backup power, because as soon as the power goes out, all the mayhem breaks loose. It is absolutely crucial that people have backup power. Go look at any flood, any hurricane, any tornado. As soon as there's power gone, all the grocery stores are empty, all the gas stations are empty. There are no more resources. Get prepared. This is one of the best ways, in my opinion, to do it. But comment down below and shoot me emails, so that way I can help you and we'll be more prepared together.